Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon. Today we're looking at a 1974 RCA model AS128F. This was a trash pick, and it was in kind of sad shape. Still needs to be cleaned up some. It's one of these faux leather covered sets. Found at a estate in Coronado. This is one of their early solid state models. May have a tube in it or two, I don't know. These are becoming increasingly hard to find. These little faux leather portables. Everybody kind of laughed at them. All the collectors, 10, 15 years ago laughed at them. Oh, these aren't worth nothing. Oh, these are junk. Just throw them away. And now they're like, well, I wish we had those. And unfortunately, the silver trim here is come off, and then somebody's driver's license was etched in there, because that's what they told you to do then in the event that it got stolen. So let's open it up and take a look. It's been sitting outside in a shed for many years. Well, there it is, KCS 187B, all solid state for sure. This is all modular too, which is kind of nice. Looks like you got your video on IF here. Okay. Horizontal section, flyback, stick rectifier. Now this generation is not known for good CRTs, so I'm not expecting much out of this. I think I'm going to throw the tester on it just to see, but I'm pretty much expecting this to be near expired, which is probably why they parked it in a shed. But let's see if we can get the Beltron on it, see what it does. The Beltron's actually bigger than the whole set. I didn't think I had an adapter for this, but I kind of put something together with the BR3 and the little mini adapter here that I have. So it's wired up a little nutty. Let's see what it does. Let's come up to 6 volts here. This one might be a 12 volt filament. It's not lighting. It's showing current draw, but it's not lighting. Okay, so it's lighting. It's 12 volt. Hey, look at that. Ooh-wee. Was not expecting that. Let's see if we can just clean it a little bit. The light already comes on, doesn't need it. Cool. Well, that's nice. Was not expecting that at all. So with that bit of information, what I think I'm going to do here is just clean the pots here for the contrast, vertical, etc. The one up here for the volume and the brightness, and then we'll juice it. It's been sitting so long, I think I will put it on a dim bulb tester just to see if it, if any of the caps want to explode. Because RCA did have problems with capacitors at that point. I am also going to do some resoldering, because if we zoom in on these are pretty notorious for getting bad connections. If we change our exposure here and our focus, maybe we can see it. See a little ring around the connections there? Those all need to be redone. Likewise with these modules up here. So we're going to clean the pots and stuff, do some resoldering real quick, and then see if this thing comes to life. I think it will. I think it'll come up. But we'll find out. Alright, so what I'm going to do is touch up all the soldering on these modules, which is a common problem with these. Any connections that look poor, I'm just going to redo them. I think this is an AC/DC set because it has a 4-pin connector plug instead of a 2. So you could technically run this on 12 volts if you had the right plug or adapter, or just figured out where the pinout was. That connection's bad, that's for sure. These ones here on this horizontal drive board are unhappy. And you know what? You don't see a whole lot of electrolytics in these mid-70s sets. Power supply and some things in the vertical, and that's about it. So with any luck, this thing will fire right up. Right now I'm just taking care of all the obvious stuff. I guess the video board's at the front. So what was I looking at? Oh, that was the vertical board that I was looking at on the left there. All right. Well, this one has crummy solder too, so we're going to take care of this one. Zenith's idea of the modular chassis with flat modules versus vertical standing was a much better idea, because with the vertical standing modules like this, you have a force lever at the socket that continuously fatigues the connections to the socket and to the board, and that's why this stuff kind of dies like this. It's true that you need to resolder the sockets and the pins and crimp the pins on the Zenith modules, but not to the extent of these. So I got pretty lucky with a good CRT, because most of these that I've ever encountered, all the CRTs were just wasted. But it's still been sitting forever, so we don't know if there's any other problems that are afoot as a function of its dormancy. We'll have to find out. I'm just taking care of what's needed here. I've checked all the fuses are good. I cleaned all the pots. So we, in theory, should be good to go. Let's look it up. Okie dokie. Let's see what this thing does, if anything. Well, that's a good sign. We have a reduced raster, but a bright one at least. So that more or less tells us that it's probably good to go. Maybe wait another moment here and then take it off the bulb. I can definitely hear some hum though. I don't know if you can hear it in the speaker or not. The hum is lessening too. It's lessening as the set warms up, so caps could be reforming. I'm going to reach back here and feel the filters. So far, not getting hot. Heatsink's not getting hot. So let's see what happens when we take it off the bulb. I'm just going to do straight 120 volts. Oh, the hum's gone. Nice bright raster there. We'll put a signal generator on it. That tuner is just locked up good. There we go. So we definitely have a B problem. That dirty tuner. Because the raster shrunk quite a bit. You can see it there. Let's see here. We got massive horizontal underscan. Maybe that's why. There we go. Of course, that could be caused by the low voltage too. We got something there. Contrast pot needs a little more cleaning. Still, main filters aren't getting hot. What's that about? Doesn't like it when I touch the donut of the flyback. That's just me. It's my influence. Got a loose module connection somewhere. Didn't like that, did it? Maybe loose connections on the, well, that's the tuner. Need to clean the tuner for sure. See what happens when we crank up the vertical. That's the most we're getting out of the vertical. It's not very much. So we definitely have a high voltage issue. We got a linearity issue here. That's pretty ugly. Nothing's heating up yet. But obviously we've got some sort of regulation failure. Definitely got loose connections. I might spray the tuner here real quick just to see if we can clear up a lot of the noise. That takes care of the touchiness. Okay, so the next step on this thing is going to be to check regulated supply voltages, because obviously we're short. We've got a decreased raster with bad linearity. The max vertical size still doesn't fill the screen completely. So we definitely have some issues to overcome. Let's flip this thing around here real quick. Take it off the generator. And see if I can just look at some voltages. And it may be that we got some issues going on with the regulator. There's no hum in the picture. So let's see here. I'm going to put this back here. See if I can gain some voltage measurements. These might be the vertical. I assume this is ground. Maybe it's not. .9 volts. That transistor's on, whatever it's supposed to do. I'm trying to figure out where chassis ground is. This could be chassis ground. But I don't get any readings from anybody if I use that as my ground point, so that's probably not it. Well, there's minus 12 volts there. 17. I need a better reference. What about tuner ground? Does tuner ground do it for me? Well, there's 8 volts there. So that's got 0.5 of a volt across it, so that's good. Yeah, I need some service literature on this thing before I can better troubleshoot it. Right now, get a lot of negative voltages, which doesn't seem right to me. Like there's the 12 volt supply, which is pretty rock steady, 11.5. This might be your AC to the transformer. Then we got this back here, -6 volts. So that's kind of bizarre. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. So time to get some service literature and figure out where we're at as far as what power supply voltages are supposed to be. I've been running this thing for a while now. The filters are still cold. I don't think they're open because there's no ripple in the picture, but we definitely have a loss of sweep, both horizontal and vertical. So there's a common point there, which is probably power supply related. And just looking at a lot of these things here, it's hard to tell where your true ground reference is. Like there's 21 volts AC there across that resistor. And I don't know who's who as far as, that's probably your horizontal output, but I don't know if these are vertical. I don't know if they're regulators. It's not really known at this point. But until I get service literature, there's really not a whole lot we can do to resolve the issues going on with this unless we just want to chase our tail for a long time. So we're going to stop the video here. This will be part 1. And then once we get some service literature, assuming we can find any either via SAMs or whatnot, we can figure out what our power supply voltages are supposed to be and go from there as far as troubleshooting, because that's I think where our issue is it's both lacking in vertical and horizontal, and there's no hum in the picture. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and more stuff to come.